Have you ever had that experience when you're sitting in the principal's office and you think you can get one over on him, and then the tables are flipped and you're going like, oh, didn't expect that one. That's kind of the situation I get when I'm reading this scripture today. We're in John chapter 19. This is leading up to the crucifixion of Jesus. And after all the falderall that's happened, we read this, John chapter 19, starting in verse 17. So they took Jesus, and he went out bearing his own cross to the place called the place of the skull, which in Aramaic is called Golgotha. There they crucified him, with him two others, one on either side, and Jesus between them. Now, note this, verse 19 and 20. Pilate also wrote an inscription and put it on the cross. It read, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. Many of the Jews read this inscription, for the place where Jesus was crucified was near the city, and it was written in Aramaic, in Latin, and in Greek. Now look at the reaction that happens in verse 21. So the chief priests of the Jews said to Pilate, do not write the King of the Jews, but rather, this man said, I am King of the Jews. Verse 22. Pilate answered, what I have written, I have written. End of conversation. Oh. Now, for them to know that that was going to be on the paper, nailed to the cross, they would have had to see Pilate write it. And Pilate didn't show up to the crucifixion site. So that was done before they took Jesus up the Via Dolorosa to Golgotha. It was a very intentional power play. See, Pilate was caught in the middle of a kangaroo court, where he found no fault in Jesus. He thought maybe Jesus was bonkers, but remember, Pilate's wife said, have nothing to do with this man. I've had nightmares on account of this man. Get him out and free him and let him go. They cried for Jesus' crucifixion. They want him to do something with him. And so Pilate says, okay, I'm gonna do what I do every year at this time at Passover. I'm going to release somebody. And so he finds another guy whose name just happens to be Jesus Barabbas. Now, we remember him as Barabbas, but one of the translations says Jesus Barabbas. So, salvation from Nazareth, salvation Barabbas, the son of Abbas. Interesting twist. And so when they cry out, crucify him, he's in a pickle. Pilate's got to make a decision. He gets a bowl, washes his hands, and said, his blood be upon you. He literally takes the phrase that the Jews use. He said, his blood be upon us. We have no king but Caesar. He uses that as leverage. So therefore, when it comes down to saying what was his crime, we post the crime up on the top of the crucifix so everybody knows what this man is guilty of. Pilate found no fault with him except for the Jews claimed he was an insurrectionist king stirring up trouble in the city. And, oh, Pilate, if you get in trouble with the Caesar, this is going to go bad for you, because we told you we had somebody who was pretending to be king and it caused a ruckus. So that's on you, not on us. So Pilate flips the tables. What I have written, I have written. It is written and not going to change. Deal with it. And yet Pilate was correct. Maybe he begrudgingly did it, but he wrote the truth. And that is the rest of the story.